Have you ever wanted to do something and planned out that you wanted to do something that was, productive for your life, but then ended up not doing it because you ended up putting up for later, and then you put it up for tomorrow, and then you leave it for the next day, and then you leave it for the next day, and then you ultimately just never got it done. Really. That's the story of my life. But anyways, the main point of really this video is like, what's the reason why we don't really get things done? And this is something that I've honestly experienced, and I think I have a clear answer, at least for me. And I hope this helps in any way. So, long story short, I was actually reading a book with my whole family, actually, and this is called The 15 Laws of Growth by John Maxwell. And so, really, really good book. And this was just off the first chapter, so like it helped me a lot. And it was pretty much just like the law of intention, being intentional with your life, being intentional with your own growth. And because growth isn't accidental, it's not incremental, it's not automatic at the end of the day. Like how when we're kids, everything just comes naturally because we're all growing up. We get taller, we get stronger, our voices get deeper, we naturally start learning more things and whatnot because we're kids. But at a certain point, when you become an adult, that natural education, that natural growth doesn't happen anymore, so it needs to be intentional. Anyway, side point of that is that when I was actually reading this book, pretty much one of the things that was like kind of like the gaps that hold people a lot from growing is really just saying like, oh, I don't really feel like doing it right now, because growth is uncomfortable in any kind of way, physically, spiritually, career-wise, whatever the case is, right? And that was a really big thing for me, where I was just not wanting to grow, not wanting to do anything because I just didn't feel like doing anything that was really uncomfortable. And here's a story that I do want to point out that I can correlate to this. So it was at the end of the day, I think on a Thursday a couple weeks ago, where I was having my last meeting of the day, just kind of going over how the day went and everything else like that. Then my mom comes in my room, and while I'm kind of like sharing how my day went, she's like, hey, she has allergies and a lot of different things, and so like sometimes her tongue tends to swell up, and sometimes she's able to deal with it, with certain medications and whatnot, but this one time she wasn't able to deal with it. And she just told me, she's like, hey, I need to go to the hospital and your father's not here, so we need to go now. And I was like, oh, okay, okay. So I was just like, all right, well, my mom needs to go to the hospital, see you guys tomorrow, goodbye. And so then I got up right away and left and did that. And, we took care of it. She's fine now. Amen. Hallelujah. All that jazz. But here's the main thing that I wanted to point out. I didn't feel like doing it. Right? Like, of course, she's my mom and whatnot. I want her to keep her safe. But, like, I was at the end of the day. I was already having my last call and everything else like that. And so I was like, I don't really want to go anywhere, obviously. But it was an urgent issue. It was something that needs to happen, right? And that's what prompted me to take action and make sure that I take care of her, because it was something that was urgent. And that's something I've honestly found, and even in my life, is that the reason why we put off so many of these things to later, to tomorrow, to next week, to next year, to when I do this, to when I do that, to when I get a car, to when I have a house, when I'm stable, when I have a family, or whatever the case is, right? Is because we don't have a sense of urgency. And that's the main thing, right? The reason why we don't put off the things that we always see are pretty important to us, whether it's investing in a certain program to help us get a certain result with our business or whatever, starting that business, going towards our dreams, whatever the case is, which is really important to us. But the thing that's holding us back and making us pushing it to tomorrow is first the uncomfortability of it. But I think the second most important part is really the sense of urgency. Because we don't have that urgency, then it's not going to push us to actually do those uncomfortable things. Because like that, what I was just saying, I didn't feel like taking my mom to the hospital because I was tired and everything else like that. She was tired and everything else. But it was an urgent issue, and it actually was important, but I didn't feel like I wanted to do anything about it. But the urgency pushed me to take action, because I could have been selfish and be like, no, I need to finish this call. Right, you're fine. Whatever. Not having a sense of urgency with it. But no, as a person who wants to be a good son and actually knows about my mom's condition, then I'd be like, no, this is actually an urgent issue. We need to take action now. So why didn't I, instead of just pointing the finger at you, why didn't I do that with everything else that I was trying to do? Because I knew I wanted to make YouTube videos. I wanted to keep making content like on my Instagram and everything else like that. I wanted to keep doing these things to better my relationship with my fiance, to better my relationship with myself, to better my career, everything else like that. And I had all these different things, but why was I putting that off? Because I didn't see it as urgent. I really didn't. Why did I not share with my fiance everything that was kind of bottled up inside? It was because it wasn't urgent at the moment. I didn't have that sense of urgency. So I was like, I feel all of this, but I can discuss it later because it's not that important right now to discuss now, even though that would have helped everything, right? And that's the same thing with you and I. The things that we want to do that we're putting off because we don't have a sense of urgency. And since we don't have a sense of urgency, we're just like, okay, these things are very, very important to us, but we're going to put them off because, they don't need to happen right now. But then when they don't happen right now, there's a thing called the law of diminishing attention, I believe it is, in the book as well. And so pretty much what this is saying is like, the longer that you wait to do something that you know you should be doing right now, as the days go on, as the longer you wait, that intention that you have of doing it right now diminishes over time. So to the point where you say that you're going to do it tomorrow. Then tomorrow, you're much less likely to even do it than if you had that intention today. An example, I say, I'm not going to the gym today, I'm going to the gym tomorrow. But then tomorrow comes around, and I know you felt this. Tomorrow comes around, and then you feel like you don't really want to go to the gym because that your intention has definitely decreased since you've left it for a whole day. Then you're more likely to say, oh, I'll leave it for the next day. Oh, I'll leave it for next week. Oh, I should start fresh next week, right? And then, no, I should start fresh the next month, right? And then it keeps going on this whole cycle to the point where the things that are actually important to us, that actually would benefit us, that aren't exactly the easiest decisions, but the things that we're passionate about and the things that need to happen in order for us to grow, they don't happen because we let them go by. And now, I pointed out this issue. No urgency. Whoa, whoop-de-doo. What do we do about it? That's the main thing. So here's one thing that has honestly been helping me over the past week that's honestly issued a lot of urgency, even with creating these videos, right? Because I could definitely prolong this for longer, but I could make every excuse in the book to just be like, no, I shouldn't record today because, the lighting isn't good because it's raining right now, or whatever the frick it is, whatever. But in all honesty, like, this is just something simple that I even just took from the book, and it seems like stupid. It really does seem stupid. But it actually helps. And I'll explain why after explaining what it is. So it pretty much is like John Maxwell, he was citing an example of one of the guys who was in there who had a really high sense of urgency with everything that he did. And he pretty much was just saying that, like, one thing that he does to really help himself have a sense of urgency every single day is that every morning and every night before he goes to bed and before he goes off to sleep and before he gets out of bed, he just says the words, do it now, 50 times. And this was before, Nike just said, like, just do it, right? But he just says that 50 times in the morning and at night. And I was like, that seems pretty simple. So why not try it, right? Why not do it now, right? Rather than be like, oh yeah, I could try that next week. I could try that tomorrow. I could try that later. No, let me do that now. So last week I did it now. And so every night and every morning, even if I forgot like probably one morning, and so I did it like once I remembered, I did it. And even though it's so stupid and I'm just kind of like talking to myself in my room with no one around me, stuff which seems kind of stupid, don't get me wrong, but it actually helped in the way of whenever I had, like, let's say 2 crossroads, right? Where I know, for instance, recording this video, I have the path of deciding to record this video. Then I have the path of deciding to not do this and do something else in the house, right? And like kind of just delay this, like, oh, I can do it tomorrow because the weather might be better or whatever. Yeah. And then since I've been saying that to myself in the morning and also at night, so that's kind of one of the first things I do remember as well after my prayers and everything, is literally like, do it now. So then, in all honesty, it makes me more likely, and I have been a lot more often, just being like, no, I'll record the video now. No, I'll do this now. I'll go to the gym now. I'll do the dishes now. I'll bath my dog now. I'll do this now. And even with work, it's like, nope, I'll do this now rather than later. And it's honestly been helping a whole lot. And it's such in all honesty, it's so small. It seems so insignificant, but that really brings on the path of like everyone's favorite book, Atomic Habits, you know? And it's something so small that's kind of building up inside of me. And also just like a mental reminder for me every single day. And it's been so helpful just to get things done. Not just like just to get things done, but like things that actually matter, to the things that I'm working on. Like the skills that I'm working on, recording these videos, making sure I'm a little bit more concise with all these things that I'm talking about and delivering my ideas in a concise and a better way, right? And just being more myself. But also, same thing with my relationships. If I have something that I want to bring up, do it now. If I have something that I know I want to share with her, do it now. If I have something that's important to do that I know I should be doing now, I'll do it. And I'm much more likely to do it. And you know what else it's also doing? It's increasing my confidence, which I know for a lot of us, I don't know about you, but like maybe if you're one of the 10 people who actually sees this, probably we need that. It increases our confidence because we are more likely to do the things that we said that we would do. And that increases confidence in ourselves. We're like, no, like, I'm a person who sticks by their word. And that's a different kind of like place you hold yourself when you can say that confidently, knowing that it's true. Because you're like, no, like, people can say that I'm lazy or whatever the case is like that, whatever they want, right? But you're like, I know for myself, I am a person who follows up my word because I've done it so many times to prove my lazy self or my negative thoughts wrong, because I have evidence as well. And that's like more of a Hormozy thing that kind of like rationalize yourself into doing more, right? And so that's one of the biggest reasons that I've seen, like the reason for me and for a lot of other people, the reason why we don't get things done, the reason why we don't get up early, the reason why we don't go to the gym, the reason why we don't build that business, the reason why we don't work on ourselves, we don't work on our relationships, is because right now we don't have the urgency of just like, no, I should be working on this right now. We're just like, no, that can wait till later, till after work, till when I get a good chance to talk to them. Right? And this is not me saying that I'm perfect or like I'm now great and I don't need to improve anything else. It's like, no. Like, I still need to implement this with all of my life, right? And I'm definitely not 100% there, but it's definitely been a drastic improvement. Because whenever we're trying to improve, like, you know, implement something new in our lives, like learning something new or anything like that, often the first, let's say 20 hours or the first, I don't know, couple weeks that you start doing it, you see a lot more progress, right? You get like 80% there, and then everything times after that is like you're 80% there, so you're above like 80% of the people who don't do it. But even after that, like let's say years after that, it's rather than growing like that 20% more to being 100%, it's more like, okay, now I'm 81% there, 82% there, 83% there. But it's still growth, and you're still seeing the major impact that's happening in your life. But also it's like being real, because you're not 100% perfect. In all honesty, you'll never get 100% perfect. And I wish I could, but I know I can't, because I'm a sinner. I'm not the person I want to be yet. And I'm also human, so like that kind of sucks. But that's the main thing. And that's the reason why we don't get things done. And I hope this kind of added value to you. At least just open your eyes, because this opened my eyes this week. And as you can see, I'm a little bit more passionate about it. Plus, it's also like the reason why I'm sharing this is so that, because these videos are more of a commitment to me and my God, of just like, I know this is something that I've wanted to commit to, and this is also growing me, keeping me accountable to the lessons that I've learned as well. Because if I'm teaching somebody through a video, right, then if I have the chance of actually pouring this out and sharing it to somebody, it solidifies the ideas in my mind. And at that point, I'm actually much more convinced of the things that I'm actually learning. And I get to move on much farther than where I thought I would be at the end of the day. And this isn't for views, really. This is just to add as much value as I can with the things that I've been learning and the things I've been going through. Me being vulnerable as much as I can, but also being to the point where, like, no, like, I've learned a few things. I think that could be a good video. Some people may find value out of it. If it didn't, then, I don't know, bomb it. With dislikes, then great. But at the end of the day, I hope not you added value to this. I hoped it added value to you at the end of the day. And so, but yeah, major thing I've learned. Hope it helps you. And I'll see you next week.